Welcome to the Superhero Sidekick Leadership Coaching Podcast with Joel Smith and Joe Baker. We're here to help you develop your superpowers. This is the Superhero Sidekick Coaching Podcast. I'm Joel Smith.
I'm Joe Baker. We're not here to be the superhero. We just want to be your sidekick and help you along in building your business, building your not-for-profit. Let's help you grow it fast and really scale.
Be sure to check us out on Facebook and visit us at superherosidekick.com. Welcome back to the Superhero Sidekick Coaching Podcast. I am Joel Smith, and with me in my virtual studio is Kay and Shila. Now, they have been on our show one other time a while back, and here they are once again. So we've got Shila Morris and Kay Salerno, and you guys are extraordinary sisters. And I gave all your titles on the last show that you guys were on, but I'm not going to do all of that again just because it's a lot. So, but you ladies are entrepreneurs, you're restaurant owners, and you really, really love marketing. I mean, I've heard you guys speak in person, and you guys really love marketing. But maybe just tell us a quick overview of who you guys are, and then I want to have a conversation about marketing, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Kay. And I'm joined here by my sister, Shila. Hello. And when I was 10 and Shila was 17, our parents purchased a single failing restaurant in Truckee, California. And we overnight became a restaurant family. So over the last 18 years, we have helped grow that family business from one struggling location to 11 thriving locations. Our parents are now retired, living on the Oregon coast. And Shila and I get to stretch our entrepreneurial legs on all kinds of fun, different things. But in addition, we're moms, we're teachers, we're speakers, we're students, and vegetarians and Disney lovers.
And through our restaurant experience in the family business, we learned a lot of marketing principles and strategies and tactics, a lot of it by trial and error, a lot of it by failing and falling flat on our face. But got to the point where people were asking us, who does your marketing? And so we opened a little boutique agency that ended up being a larger business than we anticipated. We helped the John Maxwell team architect a marketing system. Kay moved to Florida for a couple of years to make that happen. Then we wrangled her back over here to the West Coast so she could help let mom and dad retire, and we could move into the next phase of teaching marketing rather than architecting marketing, and helping build some other programs there. But we do have a lot of knowledge around marketing, whether it's in brick and mortar, the personal growth and development space, coaching in small base communities or on a large scale. And one of the things that we love most about marketing is that really when we can help good people understand marketing, it gets their good messages and influence out into the world. There's plenty of bad people with bad messages and money to back it up.
Budgets.
So we get such fulfillment and satisfaction out of helping good people spread their word wider and get more clients and have more success so that we can help turn the tide and influence with integrity that rather than manipulate with malice.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And I guess one thing I would say about marketing is, number one, it's hard. It's just not easy to really market well. It's so, it's hard to measure. It's not very many people are really skilled in that art and in the restaurant industry. I mean, let's tell you, I'm a restaurant owner, and marketing is not my greatest gift. Unlike you guys, it's a little bit different. You guys kind of started your own thing, and so you really needed, organic, start from the ground up marketing. Well, I bought a franchise, so we just have, we have national marketing, and so it's a little bit different for me, but yet it's still hard. It's still hard to try to figure that out, try to figure out the difference between national marketing, TV and radio and social media and print and all of these different things. It's, for someone like me, it makes my head spin a little bit. You guys probably thrive on it, but when I started off, it was just all like coupons and coming in the mail and that type of thing, a little bit of radio, and then it's grown so much. But I guess one thing that's challenging about it is that it is so different now than it was 10 years ago. I mean, everything has just changed. Could you guys talk a little bit about really just the landscape and how it's just always changing and maybe some of the keys to keeping up with that?
Yeah, I think that the traditional sense of marketing, really, what a lot of people think marketing is advertising. And it was interesting to hear there, Joel. You even said, with the TV and the radio, and it feels like there's just so much. Really, what it comes down to, what the big misconception, a lot of people think, so marketing equals advertising, aka I spend money, I get my message in front of you, and you spend money with me. But marketing has changed because now with social media, anyone can go and spend money and get in front of you. Like Shila and I could go spend money and get in front of everyone who listens to Superhero Sidekick like that. And it's not that difficult to do it. They really level the playing field in regards to advertising. So when you're considering marketing, we want to take that idea of this being about I put money in to put my message in front of you and I get your money back, to now we're creating a long-term connection and relationship, even in the restaurants, because the long-term connection and relationship that's built through intentional communication that pulls into people's hearts and doesn't just put what you want said in front of them, but puts what they need to hear in order to make a buying decision in front of them. So the landscape has really changed with this connection piece.
Yeah, and the landscape, the tactics and the platforms of the landscape have changed quite a bit. But one of the things that we're really passionate about is helping others understand that the timeless principles that work for successful marketing work no matter what strategy it is that you're implementing, whether we're talking about Google ads or print ads in the newspaper or a direct mail strategy or a social media strategy. Really, it is about that connection piece and that relationship building piece. So marketing is about managing the messages that you put out and doing that with intentional strategy behind them, so that the tactics and how you're going to implement marketing will differ based on the person's preference. But that's something that we love to tell people is like, you can take off this mantle of like, I have to do everything, or it's this salesy thing. It's really about managing that message and building that relationship and doing it in a way that has integrity and that's congruent with your optimal client or that you're seeking to bring forward, so that you're the person who solves their problem and you're there ready to solve it for them when they're ready to have it solved. So flipping that understanding of marketing, understanding that many of the principles are timeless and that it is primarily about connection building, can help take away some of that pressure about all of those different moving parts. Because right now we could talk about Clubhouse, we could talk about email open rates, like all of those components of marketing can feel like a lot, but remembering and understanding and circling back to that fact that it's about connection and it's about managing your message can help relieve that stress a little bit.
Well, in modern day marketing too, we've become so much more efficient than we were in past years. I mean, we can really hone in on our market now, can't we? We can hone in on the specific people that are going to have the best chances to buying from us, or the people that need our service the most. I mean, I've been doing this for the restaurant business for a long time. And at one point it was just kind of a scatter approach. You sent mailers out to every mailbox and you don't even know anything about those mailboxes or the people. Everybody's the same, right? But that's not what marketing is now. We're looking for specific people, aren't we?
Well, we've definitely found that what we like to say is there's riches in niches. And that doesn't mean you have to stick to one, right? It's not rich in niche. There's riches in niches, but starting with one niche can give you the momentum boost that you likely need if you're a solopreneur or you're just starting out in your business, and focusing down on that one core audience that you have the most ability to connect with is the way that you can get that cash register ringing and that momentum swing going as fast as possible, which most people need cash flow to start. So understanding what that niche is can really help. And so many of the clients that we work with, our team members that we coach in marketing, say my niche is like people or women, or can they fog a mirror?
Youth.
Yeah. And we really talk to them about like that's the good starting point, and that's not going to stick with anyone, right? If you say calling all women, I have a training for you, like I'm a woman, but that doesn't speak to me. But if you say calling restaurant owners who have elementary aged kids and are trying to grow another concept, I'm like, boop, 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 boop. what? That's definitely me. And I want to perk up because that speaks directly to who I am. And that's one way to cut through the noise, is understanding that niche.
Now, that can really be an effective way for restaurants, B2B or B2C businesses to market. But a lot of times we see the mistake that people make, especially in the restaurant industry, when trying to craft and figure out their niche, when they're like, what are the people that I serve? What are the people? And there's like a full house of restaurant people, and they're like, what are all the people out there, looking beyond the people right in front of them? So sometimes if you want to know what your niche is, maybe stop it with the worksheets, stop it with all of the crazy, marketing things. And we're marketing teachers, like, so we give the worksheets and these things. But sometimes you have to just go into your business and look who is actually spending money with me. And so marketing analytics from that side, the sales perspective, can be really helpful for you as you kind of figure out, who else am I going to go out to who looks like the people who already purchased from me? Like if you're a personal coach and you have 3 mom clients, right? And you're like, my niche is successful entrepreneurial men. Like, no, the people who are paying you money right now are moms. So go find other people who are like them, who are more likely to pay you that money.
Right. Hey, I want to flip to the other side of marketing here too, and this will be a little bit of a different take, but I'm sure you ladies are very familiar with talking about this. So there's one thing to focus on everything outside of your business, outside of your restaurants, and try to reach those people and the right people. But really, marketing starts with what happens inside the restaurant, doesn't it? It's about the people that you have working. It's about the menu that you have. Is it too complicated? Is it too simple? It's about the decor. It's about your brand. It's about your brand. Is your brand good? If your brand isn't good, or your product isn't good, or your people aren't good, it doesn't matter how effective you are with your Facebook ads, right? It's only going to have it's going to be like putting water in a leaky bucket. But can you talk about the 4-wall marketing and what happens there?
Would love to. And, to kind of flip what you just said in another way too, like there's all kinds of different places that we market as well. So there's the self-marketing, that's the words that you say to yourself. There's that internal marketing that we say to our teams and our staff. Then there's the marketing that we do, and the messages that we say to the people who are already existing customers or clients. And then there's the marketing of people that we want, those prospects. So we've got these different quadrants of marketing that we like to talk about, and really focusing on each one, kind of those 4 walls, right? And what we know is that it's 5 times more expensive to get a brand new person to walk into your business or use your service than it is to get an existing client or customer to come back more often and spend more money. So that marketing, if we're leaving that fruit on the tree, is really unfortunate, because there's a lot of it there, and it's a great opportunity for someone to start. That's not like, where do I go find all of those people? What about the people that we have now? Can we maximize them and maximize the value that we're adding to them in order to gain more value for our business? Is one strategy that we think is really smart when it comes to those 4 walls marketing.
Well, if we look at the, kind of the history, I know, God, here I go.
Here she goes.
If we look at the history of kind of consumerism, it really in the 70s and the 80s kind of exploded around this consumer buying, right? Like it was all about products. It was about how much you could get. It was about the quantity that you had. And then the shift kind of happened in the early 2000s, really gaining popularity in the last 10 years, that really now we're not in a consumer economy. We're now in something called an experience economy. And you see the experience economy so alive and well in places that are gaining ridiculous popularity, like Disney, like traveling. It's become trendy to get out on adventures, even if it's just to the mountain in your backyard. We see that happening within restaurants, right? Like the rise of places like Rainforest Cafe, where you've got a full immersive experience that you're going into. And it's the same thing if you come into a Squeeze In, which is our breakfast and lunch restaurant. That's where you really start to see that experience come into play. And what's the difference between a Squeeze In breakfast and the breakfast from the diner down the street? Well, the diner is the diner is the diner is the diner, but you're going to get the breakfast with an experience over here. And so now that we've moved into the experience economy, that internal marketing has become so important, because once they're in those four walls, if you can deliver on the experience piece, you guarantee they come back, and you guarantee that they talk about it with their friends, which is really the best marketing, which is referrals.
Right. One of the things we love to say is that the fastest way to double your business is to get every existing client to refer one new client, and boom, you've got double the business.
Or
And
come twice as often.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And you said, well, I could just have Google ads out there, but if I don't have the experience basically to back it up, then I'm going to fall flat. And the opposite of that is true, right? You could be the best leader with the best food in the world, or the best product or service, with super sound financials, with great operations. But if you aren't marketing strategically, then no one's going to know about that, and you might ultimately fail. So marketing is a key component, especially when you can do it from a way that's congruent with your schedule and that you can do long-term, and in a way that's congruent with your audience and that they will receive long-term.
Yeah, I love the idea, Kay, that you were talking about with the experience, because that is so true. In fact, I'll even say that, gosh, I started my restaurant, experience back in the 80s. So that kind of dates me how old I am. But, there's a big difference between what back then and now of what customers are looking for. And back then, people they liked, the experience. It was good, but really, were they getting good food, and were they getting it at the cheapest value? But now this is different. You can have mediocre food, but if you give a great experience outside of that, you'll be successful. It's just different. But if you take
have you ever eaten at a Rainforest Cafe? Like, it's not good food. Like, it's not good.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rainforest Cafe.
But it's memorable.
And that's my point. Yeah.
The big lava thing comes through.
And it's expensive.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So it looks like I hit a nerve there. You guys know this already. So yeah, no, but it's true though, that if you don't have great food, you don't have to have great food to be really successful in the restaurant business these days. You have to have competitive food. Your quality has to be competitive. But if you excel with the experience, if you give them something to remember, something that's going to make them feel a certain way, whether it's comfort, whether it's amazement, or just something, or just great service, great customer service, you can build on that. In fact, if you don't have that, that's your downfall. So, but when you can take great food and combine it with great service, so that's when you're in the sweet spot. So,
yeah. Well, great food, great service, plus great experience. So there's three factors in there, because service plus food does not equal experience. There's that third piece. Sorry, Shai.
Right. No, I'm glad that you did. And then being able to get that message out there and do it consistently. I mean, you've definitely got some components there. One of the ways that we differentiate the experience at the Squeeze In, there are a few ways. One is the atmosphere is definitely different than at most restaurants. There's going to be surfboards and bicycles and skateboards hanging.
None of the tables and chairs match.
Nothing. Everything looks like it's like grandma's donated, and this garage sale from up the street, and this thrift store. So it's like a hodgepodge collection of eclectic decorations and things that are really formulated from the community that surrounds that restaurant. And then probably our most crown jewel of experience that has been part of our brand for the last 40 years is that you can sign the wall with a Sharpie at Squeeze In. So we pass out Sharpies. They're bright yellow walls. We paint them every couple of years, at least in the script. Your mark, you can draw a picture, you can put you and your lover's name in a heart, you can sign a little saying or give a quote or be quippy, but people love that. They've put their physical mark on our wall, and it helps give them a sense of ownership, pride, and excitement, and definitely makes for a great experience.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, you guys are really focused on experience. That's terrific. I love the whole Sharpie thing. That's good. So, well, hey, ladies, I really appreciate you guys being on the podcast. It's fascinating hearing what you guys have done. You bring a very fresh and somewhat new perspective to all of this. And it's, as a restaurant owner and a leadership guy, I really appreciate what you guys do. So appreciate that. How would our listeners get a hold of you if they want to pursue you for any kind of service or just know more about your restaurants? How would they get a hold of you?
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Joel. This has been a pleasure. If you want to check more about our restaurants, you can check out Squeeze In. That's just one N on the end there.com. Or just Google us. You'll find it. We're the omelet place. And if you want to hear more from Shila and I, be sure to go over to kayandshi.com. That's KAYANDSHI. Or you can find us with that same tag at kayandshi on Instagram or on Facebook or Twitter. We'd love to have you wherever you're on social media. And then, of course, find us in the podcast sphere. Our podcast is called The Mentorship Quest, and we'd love to have you along.
All right. So what is the one superpower that you guys are working on right now? Maybe not the superpower that you have, but what are you working on to get better at?
We are working at right now, continuing to hold optimism, even in the most pressure of situations. We are naturally, we like to say we suffer from extreme optimism. So we're naturally very optimistic, and you can likely hear that on today's podcast, but we're just like anybody else, that there are pressures and things that come down. And sometimes that optimism is hard to continue to hold that flame. So really working on building like the physical neural pathways of optimism in our brains, so that when those situations happen, we can keep our zen, we can keep our optimism, and keep our faith as we move through those sometimes more challenging times.
Now, we've definitely seen the compounding effect of this particular working on this superpower over time. Last week, we had a 3.5-hour bank ordeal, and neither of us lost our temper. We stayed cool the whole time. We might have gotten a little about the whole thing, but we might have handled that differently in the past. So it really pays off as an entrepreneur to work on you.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Well, thank you so much, ladies. I appreciate what you do. And hopefully we can keep in touch and have you on the show once again. So thank you so much. So if you are listening right now, please go out to superherosidekick.com or go check us out, our Facebook page, and please give us some likes and give us your feedback, and please subscribe. So we'll see you later, everybody. Thanks.